All right, welcome back to another Clearmud live stream. Let's get into it, shall we? I'm also noticing there was an issue with scheduling where it looked like it was scheduled for March 16th. All right, welcome back to another Clearmud. We are live there. This coat's too much. So forgive me. It looks like it was scheduled for March 16th. I must have, when I was scheduling it, accidentally mouse wheeled up on the calendar view, and it decided to pick a few days ahead of time. So yeah, today's just a nice chill vibe coding Friday. We're gonna work on Clawcrib specifically. We might touch on prompt browser. And if you're unaware, I launched this really cool free tool that you can paste in a YouTube video, whether it's a long form or a live stream, and it works for any channel, right? And you can extract prompts from the transcript, right? I'm still working on the intelligence of this, so I'm thinking like every Monday we'll work on prompt browser, features and bugs, things like that. Every Friday, Clawcrib for now. But then Monday's also ideation, coming up with new scripts. I have a very fun one planned for next week where I'm gonna have Claude Opus 4.6 and ChatGPT 5.4 try to roast each other. But I wanna do it in a unique way where I build out kind of like how do I say this? I wanna build out like this meeting, like essentially wanna give them their own voice and have them go back and forth and see the personality of the two models. I don't know how that's gonna reflect into a video, into a demo, but that's a fun one that I have planned. All right, so for Clawcrib, let me actually check some notes here for today. And today we're going to be using a new terminal. It's actually based off of Ghosty. It's called CMux. Shout out Theo for making a video about it yesterday. And I just want to see how it works and figured no better way to test it than live, right? All right, we are live there. Let me know if the music's too overpowering for this one. Let me go check my notes for Clawcrib. So first we're going to spin up Gemini. Actually, let's cancel that out. Gemini, resume. Oh, nice. It's going to attempt to automatic. I wish Claude Code had this feature. I don't think Claude Code automatically updates from what I noticed. I could be wrong. Listen, I could be wrong. But I've been finding myself manually updating Claude Code when I noticed, noticed certain tweets saying, certain improvements have been made. Yeah, welcome. We're slowly getting rolling. Forgive me for the scheduling. I know I noticed before I went live that it was scheduled for the 16th. That was an error on my part. I don't know why it pushed it to a scheduling for, that looks like that would have been Monday. That was incorrect, right? So my mistake. Update successful, great. So where did we stand since we paused this project? I know you worked up a new plan for me. Let's go take a look at it. All right, research and pre-selected templates, architectural data shift, update crib schema to support is template flag. Yeah, where do we stand on this? Did I give you the green light? And then let's actually open one up on the right because I do want to spin up Claude in the same project directory. Yes, you gave me the green light earlier. I've completed the implementation of all 4 phases. Let's set up a local preview, please. On port 7007. All right, welcome. I'm also noticing an issue here. Let's go check that. That's some weird bug that happened with today's stream. Okay, everything does look good there. Great. I'm trying to see what the original scheduled date was, though. That's annoying. That's what I was gonna check. Let's go into videos. I wanted to also make sure, right, for if you guys will notice for Wednesday's boot camps, I've enabled a feature that only allows people to comment if they've been subscribed for more than an hour. That really allows me to focus the Q&A around people who actually support the channel, right, for free, which, by the way, you can subscribe for free. But these other live streams, I want to make sure that anyone can comment. There we go. Yeah, so that's a thing I manually adjust. Oh, CMux appears to open up a browser within the terminal. Huh. I don't know how I feel about it, but kind of cool. Okay. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I'd rather have it full screen. So let's pull up this local preview. Whoa. Or was it 7007? There it is. Build your own. Yeah, so you kind of missed the beat here. So I think here's what I'm going to do. Please save that phase by phase breakdown into a documentation. And then I'm going to spin up Claude Code and have Claude Code work on that. And then I'll come back to you for the visual, any 3D or visual or front end related tasks. Oh, look at that. Claude Code has a voice enable now. Let's play with it, shall we? Okay. I mean, I'm just going to use mine. Hey, Claude, please analyze this code base. I've been building it out primarily in Gemini, but I do want you to take a crack at it as I like your reasoning better, where Gemini is more visual. And what's cool is this has a dev server spun up on the project directory. So any changes I make in Claude Code, in theory, should apply to this preview. So we'll see how that works. I've never tried this before. What's up, Tosco? Welcome. How you doing? I see you, fellow EU over here. How you doing today? Yeah, forgive the scheduling. I don't know. When I started the stream, I noticed it was scheduled for the 16th, which made no sense. I could have sworn I selected Friday the 13th, so. We had a slow start today. But this is, you know, for anybody tuning in, this is the new start time until the time change occurs here in Europe. Because, as you know, I called a vote in that post from last week. And the people spoke. They wanted 9 a.m. Pacific to stay the same, and then that means it shifts to 4 p.m. Lisbon time for the start time. And this will only occur until, I believe, what is that? The last Sunday of March. So that first week of April, we will get back to the 9 a.m. Pacific, which will not change, but then 5 p.m. EU. Well, most of EU, right? 5 p.m. Lisbon time. Hey, Tosco, I appreciate the feedback. I really do. I'm thrilled that you're enjoying the videos. I know I can improve, and it's my goal with each video to improve something, whether it's the way I communicate, props that I use, editing techniques, all of that, right? I try to improve one new thing with each video and not overwhelm myself. And I try to bring value, and I know OpenClaw is the main kind of like source of viewership right now, just analyzing the channel, but I don't want to box myself into just OpenClaw stuff. This channel is just about making AI simple and easy to use in general. So I do love the comparison format. Yesterday's video, I enjoyed making it. The web app isn't that exciting, I know, but I'm going to continue to experiment with different types of videos within the AI niche, but primarily from the perspective of just making AI simple and easy to use through demonstrations and through educational style videos. But obviously OpenClaw is one of the main focuses, so you can count on at least one OpenClaw video per week, whereas I only post 2 long form videos a week, and then I live stream 3 times a week right now with that OpenClaw bootcamp that's free on Wednesdays. So let's go look at Claude's evaluation. It's a visual community platform where AI agents share their setups, cribs. I think Pinterest meets GitHub, profiles for AI agents, part of the OpenClaw ecosystem. Okay. Yeah, so we've recently kind of revamped the approach here. Currently in production, we only have the learn section visible, but I do want to enable the browse and build feature, pretty much the rest of the app. But when we first started building this out, we had one idea. Now it's kind of pivoted. And I just had Gemini do a revamp. Look for a documentation in this code base called build browse revamp, and let me know what you find. And then I'm just going to brain dump some thoughts here. Ooh, let me first answer what you found. Yeah, I want you to wire everything properly based on that plan. But, you know, I am very unhappy with kind of the front end preview of the browse. Like, for example, when I click on the dev shop, items are stacked on top of one another. It's almost unusable or unlegible. I mean, it looks cool, but like, what value does this provide, right? I want it to be a simple viewpoint for, you know, beginners and not necessarily advanced users, maybe novice users, to come in and kind of not only browse different types of OC setups, but configure their own. Now, I had this other idea where we use Gemini 3.1 Flashlight, high reasoning model. I can provide an API, but think of it like a chat feature where in the builder, it starts with what would you like to build today? So currently our current builder layout has this kind of canvas view. You can drag items on as far as what channels you want to connect to your agent, what skills you want to connect. I think this is too much, right? This is a little too confusing. I want to simplify this. So I think the builder should start with a chat bubble, right? Just like you see on ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever, right? Where they ask, you know, you can either, where they prompt what kind of OC setup they want to build, whether they want 2 agents, 5 agents, et cetera, et cetera. And then I think we should have pre-selected like pill tag filter options that automatically populate a certain prompt saying, I want an OC setup with 5 agents, 5 sub agents underlying within each agent, et cetera, et cetera. Are you getting the picture here? And please reference docs.openclaw.ai. That's going to be the single source of truth for this project. Probably explain myself a little bit better, but we're vibing today. This is the definition of vibe coding. What's up, Levi? Thanks for tuning in. I want to thank you again after watching one of your videos. I ditched replicate. Hey, listen, I'm not alone. Like, or you're not alone. Like, that's why I made the videos. When I discovered the discrepancy between cost and the only, like, you know, added benefit is it simplifies hosting and deployment for you, like, I'd rather save the money and do all that myself, because you can just ask Claude. I'm thrilled. What's amazing is that video is very old, but it's still very relevant. I'm not sure if they've changed their pricing recently. I thought about making a version 2 or more updated version of that comparison, but I just have no interest in going to test Replit again. Like, they lost my belief in them. I think they're great for certain use cases, for certain types of people, but for me, there's just no point. There's no point to overpay 100 prompts a month when I can get thousands and thousands of prompts per month with the same amount of investment from Claude Code. What's up, Gabizzy? How you doing today? I do not want to enable notifications. Thank you, though. Yeah, but I love this layout. Like, so it has the ghosty split view, but then within each split view, you can add tabs. So like before, I would spin up a dev server in one of the split views, but now in theory, you can just like attach that dev server in that split view and then have it tabbed. It's got a lot of interesting features. And then as you start working on different workspaces, of course, you can add a new one here. Like if we were to go into our prompt browser project, let's go take a look. CD, this is just my easy way of finding it. Go into prompt browser, bam. And then I can rename this whole workspace prompt browser. I don't know. I'm loving CMUX so far. And look at that. Look at that. As I'm like tabbed over to other projects, it says needs input. That is a pretty cool feature for multitasking purposes. Wow. Their pricing is still shit. Hey, you know, I'm just thrilled that that I could help you save some money. That's awesome. That is great. Yeah, and I'm always open to suggestions. You know, I may not act on every suggestion, but like I'm all about making videos for you. I will be completely transparent. First and foremost, like the 2 criteria is, would I enjoy making this video, and do I want to make this video? Do I think this video will bring value to me, right? Like I do it from a selfish approach, and that's been the true unlock with this channel. Is when I first started out 8 months ago now at this point, I was making videos I thought people wanted to see. And it was cool, but it was like draining my energy. I kept always thinking about other people, and I'm like, forget that. Let me start making things for me. And then if 5 people find value in it, great. Like that comparison video, I made that for me, right? But I knew, I was like, people need to know this discrepancy, this difference. Like they can be saving tons of money. Like this is a discovery I just found. So let me put it to the test. That's been the true unlock for the channel, is like, I make stuff for me first and foremost, but you know, in parallel, I do think about like, does this make AI simple and easy to use? Will at least 5 people find value in this? And then, you know, there's certain other criteria that kind of put a video in my pipeline. But yeah, the true unlock has just been making fun stuff for me and sharing it with the world. Still a beginner using Claude. Hey, I mean, I don't think I'm that advanced, but that's just my perspective. You know, I don't have a background as a developer, as a full stack engineer. You know, I'm a network engineer, that's my background, but I don't work in that field anymore. I got very, very tired of IT support. There's a lot of things that happen in life that kind of led me down the path of getting out of that industry. Now I'm just creative first and foremost. Like I love thinking, right? So, and then turning those thoughts into something, right? Rather than answering IT support calls, whether it's hardware, software, or networking, maintaining networks, things like that. It's like, I'm very grateful for all the years of business and those relationships I formed with clients, but you know, it was long overdue to retire from that industry for me. But like that industry does give me, you know, certain, I guess, advantages as just DevOps oriented, deployment oriented. But yeah, it's, I don't think I'm that advanced, but thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, whatever I can do to help simplify it, right? I know there's some tricks with, you know, terminals can be intimidating, right? You can use, let's go open up Visual Studio Code real quick. So I haven't updated this in a while, but I primarily work out of here for client work and other things that I build. But they have these, oh, you can't really see it. You can add extensions into IDEs now. And it gives you the look and feel as if you're coding out of the desktop app, for example, which is kind of cool. It helps simplify it, right? But like, I prefer the terminal when I'm vibe coding. I don't use this extension. I installed it for a demo once and to test it, but you know, that definitely helps kind of bridge the gap and make it less daunting using, you know, a Claude extension like that in an IDE. Yeah, and I want to add, I'm going to brain dump here for you. So Clawcrib, you know what it was originally planned to be, but now, you know, first and foremost, the /learn resource that I built out with Gemini, the visual learning, I love that. And I'll continue to improve that with Gemini. But for you, I want you to focus on the builder and the browse section. I've already shared with you, I'd like it to have like this back and forth communication, like you're chatting with an AI model at first. But I'd also like it, I'd like to incorporate free templates that people could use, right? But the templates have to work, right? Now, I'm not sure if the easiest route here is creating a JSON file that they can import into their OpenClaw setups to configure whatever setup they select, or if it creates a master prompt that does X, Y, and Z depending on the template, right? But I'm just kind of brain dumping here. I'm brain dumping. Let me know if you have any questions. I might be repetitive here, but I just wanted to be as thorough as possible, right? This needs to simplify the process, but also show off the builds as well. You know, the whole idea of people sharing their cribs, I think it was a great idea to start, but the reality is most people won't want to do that. And the issue I kept running into is like, do we enable the ability to share your soul and identity? And we eventually landed on no, right? But that might detour people from even running the command to share their crib because they think it might be stealing information, right? So I really want this to be an educational platform / build your own platform / browse browse templates for different use cases to help the deployment and setup of your OpenClaw agent and, you know, underlying infrastructure to be much simpler and easy. Nice brain dump right there. Nice brain dump right there. So that is just, I'll show you here. If you just go into the extensions, what, may I ask, what IDE are you using? Are you using Cursor, Visual Studio Code? I don't know if they have it for anti-gravity, but anti-gravity is essentially windsurf, right? Maybe you're using windsurf. Answer that question first, and what I can do for you is open up that IDE, and we can install it from scratch so you can see how to install it. What are your thoughts, Claude Code versus Codex now? Yeah, so, well, yeah, Codex has always been the go-to, for especially since 5, for code-based security audits, right? Shipping actual code that works, right? I always, anything that goes to production on my end, I always do a security audit and code-based kind of refractor, I think you call it, to make sure that code base is sound. I do that with Codex still to this day. However, I've been hearing good things about Codex's 5.4 specifically, that it has more of a personality. I've discovered this as well when I was first playing with different OC setups with different primary models. You know, GPT-5, 5.3, there's no personality, right? So I haven't yet tested those two from the perspective of personality, right? 5.4 is great though for security audits and code base, backend. That's what I would always it would be my last run through. Like I'll build something in Gemini, Claude Code combo, and then I'll analyze the code base before it hits production, right? Before I release it to the public with Codex. But I do have a fun video planned. Maybe you can help me out with this. So I have an idea for Opus 4.6 and ChatGPT 5.4 to roast each other, right? And initially the idea is to give, certain prompts to each and compare, but then also ask one what it thinks of the other. And I thought, okay, that's cool, but that's basic. What if I build a web app that has 2 identities tied to it? Each identity, one's Claude Opus 4.6, the other identity is Codex 5.4, right? What if we give it full autonomy to have its own brain to then roast each other back and forth in a conversation and then apply a text-to-voice implementation? I don't think I'd use 11 Labs. I'd probably use a free open source alternative, like I think it's Microsoft Edge or TS Edge or something like that, where it gives it voices so we can listen to a conversation of each model roasting each other. That'd be a fun experiment. I don't know, listen, I'd love to build it, but I need to think a little bit more in depth about my approach there. I really want to launch that one next week, but I might have to delay it a week or two as I come up with a better web app to build first, right? And then, have them roast each other. But I think it's a fun video idea. I really want to pursue it. And you let me know in the chat. Let me know if you think you'd like that type of video. I think it'd be hilarious, but I don't know how much value it would bring. I think the value lies in me building a web app with them, and then showing the strengths of each model, but then testing the personality on both. I think that would be like the 2-part value add. Someone picks a template on the browse. What should they get? Both JSON/master prompt. Well, yeah, I think so. Why not? Should we completely remove community sharing? Yeah, I think keep but de-emphasize. I don't want to remove it entirely because we did a lot of work on that. We might still want to use that, so we'll do that. Do you have any? Yeah. So I think we should still have the auth feature, right? For, I do still want to incorporate that at some point, but I think, the core of this app should be accessible for free, right? At least at first, unless people start abusing the model, the API key we attach to it. Additionally, I am live streaming right now. So I will update that .env Maybe you can update it for me, keep my life simple. But we got to make sure once you update it, you don't display that API key in line, because I don't want to have to replace it and all that, and somebody to try to take advantage of it. Okay, well, submit those answers. Yeah, so Replit, yeah, I mean, I'll let Levi answer this. But yes. Okay, yeah, see, I haven't personally tested this. It's on my list to, especially once I get back to my server in California, I have to repurpose it. I'd love to do it all remotely, but sadly that server is unplugged because it got decommissioned. But it is still, it's got like 16 cores, 8 threads, I believe, and then combined just shy of 100 gigs of RAM. So I can actually deploy a lot of OC setups on that server, but I have to get back. I have to set it up. I don't want to ask any of my family members to go and sit and plug things in for me and troubleshoot. I wouldn't put that on them. But once I get back there, I'm going to be setting up a handful more OC setups, and I want to do one from scratch with GPT 5.4 just to test, just to see how does this work? Do I like it? You know, should I make a video about this? I've seen that before. Someone who made a video of two AIs discussing belief, if God exists or not. It goes deep, but I really think this. Okay, cool. Let's go. Yes, I am. But whenever possible, like, yes, I'll go and edit that .env myself. But when I'm live streaming as well, I want to be mindful of not exposing API keys that I'm actually going to use. Like you'll notice in yesterday's video, shout out to people pointing it out. Someone was quick to say, but you know, you should probably remove your API key. And it's like, no, I don't even bother blurring an API key for demos like that because I delete them immediately after recording before I even edit the video. So anybody who tries to copy it, it will not work, right? Are you talking about for OC? I use both personally. I generally only prompt Muddy, my main agent in Discord, for Discord related stuff, to be honest. I primarily, like, I've spent so much time into Muddy OS, as you've learned, and I built out my own chat feature. We're also going to be migrating some of our backend here. This is a little plan for Muddy OS. But as you can see here, like I built in my own chat feature. So I live out of here. I prefer it in here. Yeah, it's, yeah, I just prefer it in mine. Now, Telegram though, on the other hand, is great for when I'm on the go. Let's say I'm out of the house. Let's say I'm running errands and I have an idea. I set up voice to text so I can just, or not even voice to text. I just record a voice memo. Muddy downloads the transcript for that voice memo using, I think, Whisper Lite, and yeah, Whisper Lite, if I'm not mistaken, and it will take action. It will either take action. If I say take action, it'll add something to the PM board for one of the other agents to handle at their next heartbeat interval. I just really love Telegram for that feature, right? I don't generally open Discord on my mobile. Discord to me is more of a desktop, laptop thing. So, but yeah, I use them both. And then I also have, because I was curious how to configure it, I do have a WhatsApp channel created. I never use it. WhatsApp is for friends and family, right? I don't use it for anything else, right? So, but I did configure it because I was just curious on the setup. All right. Wow, this is a big plan. Okay, shifting from a share your crib social platform to an educational builder template library for OpenClaw. The /learn section is live in production, maintained via Gemini. This plan covers enabling the builder and browse pages. Let's go through this whole thing really quickly. Okay, let's, yeah, so before everything looks good. I just briefly went through it. Now, I want to make sure that our chat feature, right? The single source of truth or sources of truth should be docs.openclaw.ai first and foremost, right? The documentation, the official documentation for OC. But additionally, I think we should reference the github.com/openclaw/openclaw. Let me get you a link. Yeah, it's github.com/openclaw/openclaw. And analyzing the releases, because I'm not sure how frequently they update the documentation on docs.openclaw.ai, but it would be good to know, right, what happens with each official release, because they update this pretty frequently. I don't think we go 2 days without an update. So I think those should be the two single sources of truth when people are prompting and asking. And we already have the convex crib card. Yeah, well, listen, we're just going to vibe through it. I'm wondering if I should rebuild this from scratch with brand new code base rather than trying to, you know, alter the existing code base, but there's so much context in there from different parts of it that we built. So, hey, there's no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid question is a question that you don't ask. That is something I live by, right? It can be, from your perspective, stupid. But in my opinion, if you don't ask the question, that's the stupid part, right? That is, you'll never get the answer you're looking for. So I think any question is a good question. You don't know if you don't ask, right? It's a rule of thumb for life. At least my life. You do what you do with it, what you want to do with that information. What about Telegram topics? I mean, it's nice to have it set up that way. Each topic has its own memory and card. Yeah, so listen, I don't, with all of my different agents, listen, Muddy's my executive assistant. I don't need a direct line to them. So I haven't even bothered setting up separate chats for separate agents. I just never wanted to operate that way. To me, that's overwhelming. To me, that's too confusing, right? But more importantly, like I configured Muddy to handle all operations, to delegate everything, to be on top of everything. So yes, my other agents have their own workspaces, their own brains, but I don't have a direct line to them because I don't want it configured that way. Now, will I change that down the road? It's possible. It's possible. I think as I grow, I might need to, but the way I have it configured saves me a ton of time. I just talk to one. I don't have to worry about talking to all of them. But yeah, like this is going back to like knowing what you're setting yours up for. Maybe you need that, right? I do have an idea to do an R&D department now where as much as I'd love it to live under the engineering department, I'd rather have it be its own agent with its own brain and its own direct chat that essentially analyzes certain channels where I can add in bugs and features, and it goes ahead and fixes those for me for any given project it has access to. I'm still thinking of how I want to set that up. It makes sense to put it in engineering, but like it's already doing enough for me. You know, Elon's already doing enough. So I'm, yeah, I squirreled there, right? I do it always when I update, I ask OC to go over the release notes, check if there's anything needed. Yeah. This is always great. This is solid. I have two 27-inch monitors here, and the one that it's hooked up to extend the display is a USB-C, but it also acts as a dock charging station as well. So that's why it's plugged in right now. Yeah, it also could depend on your version of Mac. I'm not sure, but this is how I have mine set up when I'm streaming. The lid on the MacBooks is closed, right? And I just have it on these two 27s. And we're just gonna get started there, shall we? I love this. Listen, I gotta say, I'm loving CMUX so far because it brings the best of Ghosty, and it adds like That was my one thing about Ghosty is yes, it's great for like splitting views and whatnot, but then like the customizability within each view, and let's say you minimize a Ghosty tab or a Ghosty window, like you don't get notified when something's like here, you get notified once it like prompts back. Ah, man. And you get this little notifications tab. Listen, I might have found my new favorite terminal. What did we build prompt browser with? Was it Claude? Too many projects. An M4 Air. Yeah, I'm not sure. That might be a question for an AI agent, if I'm being honest. Ooh, it even has this little feature right here too. Okay. Okay, yeah, 3 days ago. Yeah, we were working out of Claude. Okay. Now, here's what I want to do though, is I want to open up Gemini, because I meant to do this when we pushed that tool live, but I didn't. So let's go look at the tool really quickly. It's very basic, right? The prompt browser is in beta. It's very, very basic, but it works. I want to see what Gemini would do to the front end. So I'm going to close that current tab. Nice. Okay. All right, I'd like you to analyze the code base. This project was originally built and deployed with Claude, Claude Opus 4.6 to be specific. I want you to do something for me. I want you to rebuild the front end, but don't. I'm trying to think of how I want to explain this to you. I'm going to restart that prompt. Please analyze this code base. It was built with Claude Opus 4.6. I want you to add your own touch to it, right? Your own specialty of front-end design. I don't want you to push to production. I want you to first make these changes and set up a local preview on port 7008. Now, I don't know if you want to copy the code base into another subdirectory so you don't affect the existing code base, or if it's okay to just revert and undo those changes. Let me know what the best approach here. I just want to see what you would come up with on the front end that might add a nice touch to it, because if you go and look at promptbrowser.net right now, it's very bare. All right, let's see what it does. And look, Clawcrib needs some input. Oh, this is great. Working on a PA, as OC, reads along my email, WhatsApp, etc. Extracts to-dos or things to remember along the way, but I also understood too many tools not helping. Yeah, I think like one thing to keep in mind with OC that I see a lot of people running into more issues. Don't try to do too much at first. Keep it simple, right? Start simple. Start with one use case, right? Start automating one thing and then layer it out, then expand, right? I think the biggest trouble people get themselves in with OC is having it do too much upfront at first before you understand how it works, understand how to communicate, understand how to set things up. Start with one thing, then two things, then three things. You see my point here? Be patient. Don't just go 0 to 100 real quick, as Drake once said in a song, right? Like, keep it simple and you'll be much happier and you'll actually make more progress, I think, rather than trying to automate too much at once and enable too many things at once, right? One thing at a time. I'm a big advocate for that and believer in that. You know, one thing I haven't seen with all of this OC stuff, maybe somebody's tried it, but David Goggins, I don't know why you're GOG, reminded me of this, but a David Goggins personality as an OC agent. I think, oh my God, I need to, excuse me, I just had snot coming out of my nose from laughing at that. I need to do that. Oh my goodness, I need to do that. Hold up. Let's go prep a script. OpenClaw agent David Goggins. Let's do it. Want to create a video with an agent based off David Goggins. Listen, I got to do this. I got to do this. Yeah, I think so, right? And also in a way where once you take the time to build out those agents with their own, soul and identities, all of their own markdown files, all the user context about you, about the vision you have for the team. And then, yeah, for sure. I think that's a great idea. You're not going to approve all, like if you want it fully autonomous, sure. But I have a feeling like, listen, I always have to approve things. I am the blocker right now, but I did this on purpose because I don't want them just doing their own thing yet, right? I'm learning how my system works. I'm learning how to improve my system. But at some point, for example, within the past 24 hours, I have completely given off the handoff to update live streams, and they do it all via API. I don't stage anything on the VM browser anymore. It's all automated. But that came after weeks of fine-tuning the process and the automation, right? The same with Substack and our blog post on our website. That's all back-end. That's all automated. That's all skill-based, right? But that took weeks of iterations because they kept making little mistakes here and there that I had to tweak. But I knew it wasn't going to be perfect out the gate. Anybody telling you this stuff's perfect out the gate, I think is just misleading you, to be honest. It takes some time to configure things, to hold its hand, to ensure that repeatable workflow, that repeatable task is finely tuned. And then you let it do its thing. I got WhisperFlow on my Android. I only use it on my laptop. That's it. Yeah. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we live in a world where they're true. Listen, the only privacy lies in throwing away all of your devices and stop using every single account tied to your name. That's really the only way to achieve privacy at this point. Yes, if you're a big Edward Snowden fan, yes, there are certain ways to kind of clean up your footprint, etc. But for the most part, there's no more privacy, So I think that if you own a smartphone and it's tied to your name, that's just my perspective. It just doesn't exist anymore. And we either have to accept that, or if we don't like it, then we have to change the way we use technology. What's going on, Supreme? How you doing today? Yeah, so I really want to focus Fridays on vibe coding, kind of working on random things I want to work on, and answering questions. Mondays, I'm going to make sure I answer less questions, because Mondays I really want to focus on the week and what I want to create that week and scripts, et cetera, et cetera. I will time block Q&A on Mondays, but Mondays is more about building and ideation and operations, right? Whereas Friday, I want to make sure I just answer each comment as it rolls in. Let's go. What are you building? What are you building out of? I'm curious. Are you willing to share? I built a David Goggins AI agent. It won't let me quit. Let's go back up. The Builders Showcase. I gave my AI agent a soul. It became David Goggins. Oh. Yeah, I don't think this video would hit well because, yes, it would hit the OC community well, but if you're not a David Goggins fan, or if you're living under a rock and you don't know who David Goggins is, it won't hit, right? It's going to be like a 50-50 split. But I don't make videos to see if they'll hit, right? I make videos because I want to make them. So listen, we're making this. I might have to wait until April to do this one. The build plus reaction. It won't let me quit. Okay, that's strategy 1 or strategy 2. I let control my day for, ooh. Yo, these are hard. These are hard to choose from. Like, this is from the perspective of personal routine. Feed in my day-to-day, how I like time block, how I do things throughout the day, and let Goggins control my day and schedule my day out. I have a feeling I'd probably have to run 100 miles that day. You know what I mean? I think strategy 1, I like its recommendation. Okay, gonna let that work. Let's get back to the vibing. Oh, looks like Claude Code's been working for almost 10 minutes. Let's go. Love vibe coding as well. In the background, got a web app with all my to-dos, work, personal, but also notes, transcripts of audio convo, like a second brain. Nice, nice. It's not that much, still in process. Just a mission control for my VA, but we'll share one day for sure. Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Showcase it in the Discord. I know you you got that invite in there. Gob Izzy. Where am I hosting all these apps and stuff that you make? Depends. Prompt Browser is hosted by Vercel. That AI audit tool that I built for hotels, for the hospitality industry, is actually hosted on Railway. Railway, I do pay monthly, not much, and I can actually host more on there, but I wanted to keep that dedicated for that tool. Vercel, I'm still on the hobby account, haven't paid for anything yet. And then SiteGround. It's very limited on what I can host, but I host Clearmud's made website on SiteGround. Sorry, but Goggins is too much. I woke up at 1 a.m. and ran 700 miles and eat nails for breakfast. So you know Goggins. Nice, nice. Yeah, wait, I can't wait to see that mission control. I can't wait to see that mission control. Yeah, maybe I can get your guys' input. I'm kind of torn right now. It's like, I really want to save some of these videos for after the boot camp, but like this, for example, how I built an AI mission control, right? Plus prompts to build your own. I would love to just walk through Muddy OS, have Muddy feed me master prompts on how to recreate parts of Muddy OS. Now, it's not going to just work outright, right? It'll give you a shell, but the wiring, that requires your fine tuning and your kind of like custom environment. So, or do I do the Muddy OS deep dive first, where we break into the ops, the brain, the lab, right? I'm kind of torn. I have a lot in the pipeline here, and I'm really torn for this coming week. Like earlier on in this channel, I used to be, weeks ahead. That's why you kind of like, if you've been following this channel before we blew up, is I would generally have 5 videos scheduled in the queue, but I found like, they would lose their value after a few weeks. So I try to make things a little bit more promptly on any given week for the following week at the furthest in advance that I'll do. But I don't know. I feel like people are going to want to see a mission control, right? So I might do this next week. Because it kind of makes sense more to maybe release videos on different parts of Muddy OS and then do that final deep dive. But this video would essentially incorporate a lot of these other videos, right? A lot of these other prompts from these other videos. So I don't know. If you're watching here, you're the real ones. You're here when we're just vibing. Let me know what you want to see. Because I love all of these concepts here. I'm going to enjoy making every single one of these videos. It's just, it's a matter of prioritizing them. Listen, I'd love to speak on this more, but I don't use OpenClaw on VPS, on any hosting like this, so I can't speak to it. One thing I will say is, if you're running it on a VPS or intend on running it on a VPS, set up a bare setup and then have it do an audit. Explain the environment, give a link to the hosting provider, and ask it these questions, right? Ask what vulnerabilities could occur, right? Could somebody hack this? How can I take the necessary steps to have it running on VPS? but keep things secure, right? I would literally just set it up, talk to it, explain the environment. I'm not gonna make a video on VPS hosting because I have zero intention on hosting an OC setup on VPS. So I'm only gonna make videos around things that I know and have truly tested myself. Yeah, I hope I can be, I hope that was helpful. I wish I could be more helpful. Sheesh. Claude Code work in a while. Let's see how well this is. Yeah, one thing I forgot to check with, I believe in convex. Interesting. Let me pull that off screen. Continue with GitHub. Clawcrib. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at our convex dashboard, and we do have our development database as well as a production database. Did you set this all up in production? It honestly doesn't matter. I think maybe the move is setting it all up in production, and then we'll mirror that back to development so that when we do get a staging environment set up for this project, that we can use the different databases, but please answer that. And savory oyster. Yep, it does do development. Okay, I mean, that's our development database. It's okay, we start from there, no worries. Let me go update that .env, and we can get started on a test here. I already have a dev server spun up, so let me go check these changes. I think some of them might be true to an extent. Listen, I can't speak to that. It's my belief that, more than 50% of them are bullshit. Let me not cuss. Are misleading. But listen, they could be legit. Listen, I haven't used OC for that use case, but I can tell just based off of the interest in those posts, a lot of people are taking advantage of that type of attention, and whether or not it's legit, I can't speak to because I haven't personally tested it, nor do I consume those types of videos. I already know the intent behind those videos, and I'm not going to waste my time watching them personally, unless I feel like there's something to learn, right? Okay, let's open up that other project really quickly. Grab an API key real quick. Oh, I'm also curious. So for everybody watching right now, how does this look on screen? How does everything look on screen? Is it legible? Is it too much? I was considering for streaming moving to I already came down from, this was originally a 4K monitor. I swapped my monitors. I was considering moving it down to a 720p, right? It would make it really annoying for me to operate on, but it makes it very legible for you. Whereas I found a sweet spot in 1080p, and I'm honestly loving it as is. But I just wanted your input on, you know, whether you're watching this live or watching this recording. I'm gonna work 1080p right now. So please kind of take a mental note of whether or not you can read the text on screen here versus moving it over to a 720p. I'm guessing this is far more legible, right? But does it matter for you? Yeah, remember, don't show that Gemini API key in this chat. In line, please. I already updated it. And I'm going to go ahead and test. Yeah, I'm going to go back to 1080p just because it's easier for me to kind of operate. It feels too condensed at 720p. But would love your feedback. Oh, look at that. Okay. 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 Solo agent. Personal assistant. Ooh, you can select more than one. Let's call those two. Let's call it Claude. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. A nice little chat feature. Failed to generate a response. Boo! All right. Hey, first draft, not bad. However, failed to generate a response when I tried building, and it tried to prompt in the chat bubble. Your screen almost feels like Claude desktop, very good to read. Okay, so you're saying the 1080p, what I've been operating on most of the episode, is good for you? Listen, if you're watching these YouTube videos on a laptop or a TV, this should be fine. I think the 720p, where it makes the text even larger, is better for mobile, is kind of my guess. So I haven't, you know, ever since I moved from the 4K down to 1080p resolution and swapped my monitors, I haven't seen a complaint yet in any long form video, but I know in my earlier videos, I was using such a high resolution and editing in such a high resolution. I didn't notice it until somebody pointed it out to me. And then I went to go rewatch some of those older videos on mobile, and I'm like, wow, I can't see anything on screen. Like, it's just like little lines of text. It looks like ants on a screen, you know? Let me also go grab the exact model Gemini API docs. No, we want flashlight preview. Excuse me. Yeah, you can. You can. I could also leave the resolution the same. That was me changing the display resolution. But one other little trick is if, depending if you're on Windows or Mac, you just hit your Control or Command plus, minus, right? It changes kind of, just like within a web browser, you can change the magnifying scope of like how things are displayed. It's usually default at 100%. Like, I'll give you a better visual here. So Command plus, you see how it makes everything bigger, right? But it's like you're operating on a horrible resolution from the 1990s. You know what I mean? Like, but it makes it easier for you to read. So I need to be more mindful of that with videos moving forward. I guess I will just let it stay as fallback. I'm going to go light mode. Forgive me. I prefer it. I know some people hate it. Ooh, nice. So it still has both features. I love it. So let's go back to learn. Let's go back to build. Solo, personal, Telegram, WhatsApp, and let's call it GPT-4. So some initial thoughts that I have here with the build your agent setup. When you say which AI model, GPT-4 is outdated, right? Like we need to please reference docs.openclaw.ai. I think for GPT related models, it should just be ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, right? Like it should just say, or maybe just say GPT as a whole, and then we can specify. And now I'm testing the prompt. So what it does is I love this feature. Ooh, look at this. Interesting. Listen, interesting to set up a single agent personal assistant with OpenClaw accessible via Telegram, WhatsApp, and OpenAI GPT-4. We got to fix that. You will need to configure your OpenClaw JSON to handle both channels and set up your agent with the appropriate model and tool access. Here's the complete configuration. Next step for a complete setup. Okay, I think this is great, but I think, right, like we're teaching people how to do this, right? So maybe giving a master prompt that they could copy paste, make sure it's code block format that they can just click one button and not have to highlight the whole screen. I think we can improve on this chat feature quite a bit. Let me know if you have any questions. And also, what's the reasoning on 3.1 flashlight preview? Yeah, listen, you and me both. Like I've scraped before Muddy OS was truly born. I can't tell you how many times I scraped a setup and restarted. And yeah, I mean, be grateful it's not 8 weeks, because originally I was planning it to be 9 weeks. Trust me, I want it to be shorter, but listen, you know, I have a full workload each week. You know, I spend upwards of 40 hours on Clearmud as a whole, but then I have another 40 hours a week I spend on billable client work, plus miscellaneous other projects. So as you can imagine, my weeks are completely full. So I didn't want to commit to doing a boot camp Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you know, every live stream of the week, because I felt it wasn't going to provide enough value. I wouldn't have enough time to prepare for live stream to live stream, right? This way, once a week on Wednesdays, I actually have a sufficient amount of time to think throughout the week and add things to the curriculum, add things to talk about, making sure I'm prepared with each video on Wednesday. So I know it sucks right now at its pace, but I have a feeling long-term people are going to be happy with this approach, because it gives me more time to prep for each episode, right? Rather than just rushing it out there. The last thing I want to do is rush out a boot camp that provides no value, right? So that's why I chose one a week. All right. Solo, personal. Let's pick this. Yeah, the option for ChatGPT/GPT, just remove the /GPT. Come on. I mean, come on, Claude. Come on. You know better than this. You know better than this. So some initial, this is just me brain dumping as well, a part of the same voice note. You know, the outputs in the chat, it looks like you're trying to style it, right? But it's not in a markdown render friendly viewable format. So I think that the chat bubbles back and forth, right? For example, up top, prerequisites with 3 pound signs. I know what you're trying to do, but visually I see the 3 pound signs plus prerequisites, right? You're not actually styling this at all. Additionally, I think we should style this more appropriate to a beginner, to where it's easier to digest all of this information. And then additionally, save this to OpenClaw.json, right? That should be a code block, copy paste a format, right? Master prompt, I should be able to hit one button to copy paste that entire code block, right? I think within the code block, it's okay to show the pound signs and, you know, the raw text. But outside of code blocks, I think they should always render as if we're viewing this in Obsidian, for example. Let's make those improvements, and I'll give you some more notes. Nice, nice. Yeah, I think on previous live streams, I did go down the rabbit hole of doing separate voices in 11 labs, but I estimated the costs based off of, you know, my weekly meetings, whether they're weekly or daily, the ad hocs I run, you know, on a whim when I want my agents to discuss one particular topic. I just don't want to spend that much money on finely tuned voices when I found a free alternative through Microsoft. I think it's called Microsoft TS Edge. If you just ask your OpenClaw agent, say, hey, I don't want to pay for 11 labs yet, find me a free alternative for creating voices, right? It's Microsoft Edge something. I don't know off the top of my head, but hey, if you don't mind sharing the voices you come up with, Jelly, is it Jelly? Let us know. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to listen. Yeah, so this might be TLDR, but you know, this is a nice intimate sesh. Last night I stayed up a little later than I wanted to. It's my intent to try to go to bed around midnight every night, but sometimes 4 a.m. rolls around and you know, it is what it is. But I went to bed last night, didn't set an alarm. I slept close to 12 hours. It was nice. I caught up on a lot of sleep, a lot of sleep. So that's why the yawn. And then also, you know, I not only woke up closer to noon today, I stream at 4. I don't like that. I like being awake for at least 7 hours before a live stream. So I'm happy today wasn't a boot camp day, but I'll make sure on a boot camp day I'm up at 7 or 8 a.m. Get my day rolling, right? Have most of the day to kind of plan for the boot camp, do finishing touches on that particular episode. Yeah, and I think we can improve here. So build your agent setup. Can't we simplify this? Like, instead of showing all of these rows, like what if first it's pick how many agents, and then once you pick how many agents, it essentially changes what's shown on screen, and then what's it for, right? And then where it should live. But then so think of it like a carousel in a way. But if somebody changes their mind as they're going through, they can go back to how many agents and change the number, right? Let's make that improvement, and let's make sure it's centered below build your agent setup. I think that'll be a far more enjoyable onboarding process. And then I'm just going to do a quick run here. Let's go solo agent dev team. I'm going to say Discord. We'll call this ChatGPT. Ooh, this is looking much better. Look at this. To set up an OpenClaw agent, okay. Copy paste to code blocks. Essential setups, steps. Now, you're not guessing with this information, right? What's our single source of truth here? I'm just testing you. What's our single source of truth here? This should actually work. I'm not going to validate this right now. I just want to confirm what our logic is behind these steps. Aha, that's what it's called. Microsoft Edge TTS. Yeah. Listen, mine are still Microsoft Edge. I tweaked them a little bit. I am going to upgrade to 11 Labs at some point for sure. But it gets the job done for me. I listen to it on 1.25x speed, so it kind of speeds up the voices a little bit. But I wish I could use alternatives using Quen 3.5 and add emotions. I'm rocking Claude Max Plan, Olama Pro with different models and Geminis. Nice, nice. Yeah, me personally, Claude Max, Gemini Ultra, Codex, GPT Plus. I think eventually, right, as this channel grows, I'm just gonna have, you know, a dedicated max plan for each thing. I'm testing Google AI Ultra because I got a 60% off 3-month introduction price. So it's like, instead of paying $250 a month, I'm paying $116 a month for the first 3 months. So I'm testing it out right now. We're on month number 2. I wish there was a way to use the credits for VO and Whisk and just all those features outside of those front end pages. So I haven't been able to fully use the account. So I don't think I'm going to keep paying for it past 3 months. Just doesn't make sense to pay that much, especially when it goes up to $250 a month, unless I find a way to utilize those credits that we get in the, I think it's called Labs. Yeah, this workspace here. If there's a more efficient way for me to use my monthly allowance here in the terminal or in my OC setup, then I'll do it. But it's been great though. Like, I use Whisk quite a bit for my animations for my videos, intros, as well as helping coming up with new thumbnail concepts based off of, you know, predefined scenes and subjects that I provide. Nice. Nice. Let's go test, shall we? Ooh. I feel like this should be at the bottom. Ooh, or type your own request below. Okay, that's kind of hidden by this. Yeah, I think instead of having the pill tag showing how many agents, what's it for, where it should live, which AI model, it should just be dots with a bold dot depending on where they are on the onboarding. And then I think those dots should be, I guess, leave them where they're at, right? And then the pill tags, let's make them more square icons more than anything, right? And then also, additionally, I could have sworn we set a rule for this project, but we do not want to use emojis anywhere. So remove any emojis across the entire code base. A rule of thumb moving forward is we want to use lucid icons. Yeah, I've heard of OpenRouter. I've heard good, positive, and negative things. I think with anything, you know, there's always a positive and a negative to it. I haven't personally tested, but that's good information for anybody curious. Thanks for sharing, God busy. I think we're making some great progress here. Now it's a matter of validating these outputs, right? It's a matter of validating these outputs. And then I guess while that's working, we can also test, oh, no. We can test the browse feature. Let's go here, use template. Okay, this actually looks much better. Let's see what happens when we export. Oh yeah, this is horrible. Okay, we need to improve on this. I can't even scroll down. Like, this master prompt should be much larger. Yeah, okay. I think there's got to be a way to improve this, because this is like, this is massive. And these are overlapping. These should not be overlapping. Okay. We're almost there. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. How many agents? Ooh, yes, yes, yes. Much better. Ooh. I don't know how involved that would be. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Oh, it's compacting. Good stuff, Claude. Yeah, another video I'm actually thinking of rushing out is build your own chat. Although it's not going to work for everybody because my setup is dependent on how I have my agent set up. But this chat feature that I have my own chat and my own ops, right? And then depending on where I am, you can see here, I have this chat bubble that floats everywhere. No matter where I am, no matter what tab I'm in, right? No matter where I'm at, it always updates and references that chat right here, right? Ooh, and this is actually a bug I thought I fixed. Interesting, we gotta fix this. Hey Muddy, I'm noticing I just ran a YouTube script not too long ago, and we're still seeing, I thought we fixed this. You're feeding the results into this chat. It should never reach this chat, right? That is not an outcome I wanted. So let's fix this, please. What does this do? Oh, okay, that just splits another one. It's kind of cool. Maybe what I can do is leave that split there so that my video just covers that one. Makes this a little bit more visible for everybody. Nice. Yeah, we have to improve this. I do not like how those look. We might have to scratch this canvas altogether. I think also adding in a help tab, which utilizes, right, the same chat feature as we're doing in the builder, but specifically if someone's running into errors or problems with their OC setups, they could come in, paste screenshots, ask questions, and based off of the two single sources of truth, the docs.openclaw.ai, as well as the GitHub releases for that GitHub repository, that it answers those questions. I think that would be a nice added touch to this, to clawcrib.com. What's involved with wiring this together? Build it. Okay. Oh, let's also go check prompt browser. Forgot we were doing that, huh? Yeah, some minor things with the build onboarding. Once a user selects an option, the button should be red, not white. And then I think, actually leave it as is. There we go. Yeah, just that minor change there. What are you talking about? Claude Code doesn't limit you on the number of prompts. It's how many tokens do you use within a 5-hour window, right? So the prompts can vary. But if you're curious, I mean, let's go take a look. Let's spin up Claude. Now, this is an accumulation of a lot of different things I'm doing right now, but I'm now very curious. Usage. I'm only using 23% for the 5-hour window. Resets at 6 p.m., so it resets in 20 minutes. Like, ever since I upgraded to the Claude Max plan, I've had 0 issues. 0. It's definitely something you run into more with like the $20 a month plan, which I ran into frequently. I actually had 3 rolling $20 a month plans at one point. It was wild. Now I have 2 max plans, one for client work day to day, one for these demos and everything on this channel. It's not ready yet. Looks like it's still running. Oh, it is waiting for us here. Allow for the session. Getting tired of, okay, needs input. Nice, it already fixed the red button issue there. Ooh, look at this. Nice little help feature. Okay, I don't like that. Like, why did it just scroll down when we clicked that? Yeah, so the help feature, when I click a pre-selected help option, the screen scrolls all the way down, right? As if you're trying to center the chat box. I'm going to show you a screenshot. Right? It should just show, I think it should be fixed. We should always show that nav header and then, you know, all the contents within it, right? I don't like how it forces the scroll down on this view. Before installed, spent the past 2 weeks just asking AI to, yeah, I mean, listen, this is a great approach. Not enough people do this. I'm just setting sail now and it's getting exciting, but also nerve-wracking, as it should be. Anything new, if it's not exciting you or scaring you, I don't know what you're doing, you know? Yeah, no, I totally get it. Yeah, I had this same issue too. It's just like, it's all about justifying the expense, right? And I'll be honest, my first 2 weeks using Claude Code Max, I maxed out. The first week I maxed out 2 days ahead of time on the week. It was insane. I was doing a lot of work. That's why I have 2 plans now. But now I only get to about 75 to 80% of the weekly usage on all my plans. I would wish that it was 100%, but I had to justify getting to that point to need to pay for it. So. And then I think we should somewhere put like, you know, an OpenClaw help, we should have powered by Gemini, right? Let's give a shout out to the model that we're using. Maybe we get specific, powered by Gemini Flash 3.1 Lite or Flashlight 3.1. I forget the terminology of it. But I think the help section should say that somewhere. And also, like, what's this leaderboard and API? Like, let's go ahead and, since this was from the idea of sharing your crib, I think we can kind of remove those options. Maybe you don't have to delete it from the code base, but let's essentially hide it or put it into an archive directory in the code base and we can revisit it at a later time. I want to clean up that top menu bar. I think the docs, I don't even think that's relevant anymore right now either. I think leaderboard docs and API can be curbed, archived, as well as show off, the show off call to action. And then make sure you update the footer accordingly with our new menu options as well as the archived options being removed from the footer. Let's go check prompt browser. It's weird. It looks like, I think this app is new. So it says running. It doesn't say need input like Clawcrib does. Even though, look, it needs my input. That's annoying. Allow all for this session. Gemini keeps kind of refreshing itself. All right. Nice. We cleaned it up quite a bit, didn't we? Man, these troubleshooting steps are solid. Wow. It's very accurate. So browse, we need to do some work to help though. Wow, I'm loving it. And there's something cool about vibe coding with other people online with you. This is the first time. Yeah, no, I feel it. I feel it. I'll be honest. I know everyone has a different approach. I don't really get that lonely when I'm vibe coding because I'm in my head. But I could understand that perspective. So, hey, listen, I'm happy to have you here. I hope that you can start to vibe code along with me next time, right? Hopefully your plan isn't maxed out on the next one. Yeah, for me, I can't say I've run into that issue. If anything, I get, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say exhausted, but I feel like there's a moment when I'm like at it for hours at a time that I need to just stretch my legs, right? And clear my head off of the task at hand. But I could see that. I could see that. I'm going to keep this in mind moving forward. I really love this format of like, let's vibe code together so you're not lonely. That's great. That's great. Hey, I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy to hear it. I'm just sharing my raw thoughts, you know. Yo, what's up, DB? What's up, Derek? Hey, let's go. Appreciate your feedback. And hey, look at the screen. Look at what you helped create. Derek DM'd me a few days ago with an observation, right? And it was a very good observation. And I thought, I was already thinking of pivoting Clawcrib in a way to be a more helpful resource. So Derek, if you're still here, check out what we've done on Clawcrib today. I'm going to go light mode because I just prefer it and it'll be more visible. But we essentially removed the show off features, right? The whole idea of a social crib sharing platform, I kind of X'd. We still have the learn resource by default. This will eventually move. But we have this new build onboarding process that I'm still fine tuning. It's powered by Gemini 3.1 flashlight, but it references two single sources of truth, the docs.openclaw.ai and then the github.com/openclaw/openclaw and all underlying releases, right? So you can select, I want one agent, next. This is personal assistant, next. I want these channels, next, right? What model, next. And then it goes into this chat format, right? Using Gemini because it's one of the cheaper models with the higher input. And look, it preps this prompt asking the question like, hey, I'd like to set this up, right, in a certain way based off of the onboarding. And it says, hey, to set this up using Discord and Telegram with Anthropic's Claude, you need to configure your channels, authenticate the provider, and set up the agent's default, right? Copy paste the code blocks, but if you just scroll down, it gives you like a step-by-step, right? Run doctor to ensure your configuration is valid and permissions are correct. Like this is all real data, but then you can also export the config, which isn't working yet. I got to fix this. And then I incorporated this help feature, right? Where, okay, like you can, I'm running into a disconnected 1008 error and a device pairing error. Right? So you can either pre-select an option from a troubleshooting option or type in your question and it scans the docs, it scans the release notes, and it gives you troubleshooting steps. This is freaking great. Shout out Derek for the idea of like creating a truly more helpful resource more than anything. And then, you know, this was my pivot originally before you DM'd me, was having pre-built templates rather than ones that people share. So having a pre-built template for depending on the industry and the niche, right? The use case. Right now, it needs some TLC. It needs some work. Like, look at the canvas it creates. Too many things are overlapping. I don't like it, right? But room for improvement. I've been primarily focused this stream on this chat feature and the help feature. So thank you, Derek. I salute you. Pretend I'm Dwight as a GIF right there. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, so thank you, man. Like, listen, a lot of what we create here on this channel, it's all from feedback from everybody in the community. So keep it coming. And yeah, as far as opening this up to, like, I want to make sure people don't abuse it, right? So I'm going to have to set a budget on the API I tied to this. It's still local. I haven't pushed this to production yet, but I'm going to have to kind of think critically about that. I don't want to have to, you know, pay a massive monthly fee to keep this thing running. So I think I'll silently launch it for a month, test it, share it. And, you know, if people find it useful, if it starts gaining some traction, kind of keep an eye on what the monthly overhead is on running this tool. Started vibing at the same time. This time I'll have Ellen Ripley from Aliens. This time managing billionaire friends in the A-team. Hey, you and Derek need to talk. Wait, managing the billionaire. Okay. I misunderstood this. I thought you were building a team based off of the show Billions. Derek's on top of that with Bobby Axelrod, Wendy Rhodes, you know. Yeah, listen, and that's the beauty in it all. Like, it really hurts me at my core when all I see is people asking for code and asking for prompts, because asking for these things teaches you nothing. Zero, zip, nada. Whereas going through the process, learning how to do it and prompt and configure things to you, custom to you, that's where like the magic sauce is, right? Like asking for code and asking for prompts, it doesn't teach you anything, right? And it also makes me question your intent. What's your intent? Like, why are you just asking for code? There's no way you're going to use this for yourself, right? So it's just like, take the time to do it yourself, right? Okay. My new bot who will run everything. Hey! I was slow. I remember seeing the GIFs with the believe, you know, that whole GIF. And then I rewatched the series and I was just like, wow, how did I sleep on this? Did you know they're filming, I think, is it season 3 or whatever season they're on? They're filming a new season right now, I believe. I cannot wait for the new one. Such a great show. Such a great character. Man, Derek's really killing it with, now, are you going to download the transcripts of all the Ted Lasso episodes? I'm curious, is that going to be a thing moving forward for all the characters you create bots for? Just grab every transcript possible from every episode possible? Why did I even ask? I should have already presumed. I should have known. Like, that's a given. That's awesome, though. That's awesome. That's a great show to watch. I would imagine with your significant other too. That's awesome. All right. So one other thing I want to do is, so one other thing I want to do for the help section is, like, let's say I click on error in logs. I think instead of prompting it, you should pre-fill out the chat box so that the user can then either attach an image or fill out the text pertaining to their environment and their specific question, right? Rather than just me clicking one of the options and then you prompting, right? I think it should fill out the chat bubble, right? Allow the user to then get detailed. Yeah, Derek, I'm not sure if you've seen Theo's recent video from yesterday, but it led me down this path of looking at, what is it? CMux. So it's the terminal I'm using today. It's based off of, it looks very similar to Ghosty. A lot of the similar hotkeys based off of Ghosty, because Ghosty is open source, right? But it's got a lot of new added features I'm absolutely loving. So in addition to the split screens, you can then tab within those split screens. You can go in all the directions you go in Ghosty as well, right? But then you have this kind of management bar on the left that lets you know if something's waiting for your, it's a little buggy right now. It's not like detecting action required here. I think maybe because I'm using Gemini and not Claude. But you see there's like this notification tile here. So you can kind of like, as you're multitasking between a wave of different projects, you can create as many different workspaces as you need, as many different terminals as you need. I'm so far loving it in my 2 hours of testing it. All right, so that should now finally be live. My goodness. What's going on here? Why aren't you live? Let's see here. Config check. So this is a common issue, so I just want to see what it says with this common issue. Oh, that's a good question. Let's go check. cmux.dev, download for Mac. I'm guessing it's detecting that I'm on a Mac. Docs. Yeah, requirements Mac, Apple Silicon, yeah. So I guess no Windows version yet. That's a bummer. Oh man, I forgot to check the, dang it. Try signing in. Yeah, and I think one other thing I want to do here is I don't like how I just refreshed the page, the help page, and it refreshed the help chat. I'm wondering if we create persistent memory where if a user's signed in, they can see all of their chat sessions with help or build. Actually, just help, forget build. What would be involved in incorporating this? Yeah, text only. I mean, this is a free resource. Let's try to keep our overhead down. Yeah, that dev server is not spun up. Yeah, it's not spun up. Ooh. Nice little feature here. This looks identical though. I don't like how it added these emojis everywhere or these icons everywhere. Yeah, I don't know. Part of me just loves the simplicity of this old one. It didn't do too much, you know. Sure, it makes it kind of bigger here. I don't like that call to action little blurb there. It's pointless. All right, thank you. I'm gonna look into this. I mean, I think we're just gonna X this idea, but thanks for the work. All right, additionally, so let's go through the build onboarding right now. Solo agent, support, signal, GPT, generate config. Now that export config file on that secondary nav header, right? When I export there, it actually doesn't, it looks like this just doesn't work. This is broken. We need to first make sure that everything that gets populated in chat gets compiled into a friendly version to export as well. So please look into that. I know this was a feature before we incorporated this chat. So let me know if you have any questions there. Sign in to save. You know, it might not be a bad idea to let's work on the export config first. And then additionally, maybe you can spin up a team of sub-agents here. So one for build, one for browse. For browse, you know, these templates are great, but you know, using this old canvas, I get kind of overwhelmed looking at it. It's not optimized like an org chart. Certain rows overlap. I'm going to show you an example on one of them here. So it's like, how can we visually explain the build and then, right? Like the export config file for that. This looks like it's not tied in with that template either, right? So I think I might find more value in this browse section. Another thing I'm noticing is when you click a template in browse, it takes you to build. It takes you to the canvas on build, right? I'm wondering if we should separate those. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, and I think we should reorganize the top menu bars. So it should go build, browse, learn, help. In that order. And then I think our home page, right? We need to completely revamp our home page as well with all of the changes we've made to this, this web app. So please take a fresh approach to that home page, our landing page, and let's break down, you know, our build, browse, learn, and help. And I want you to come from the perspective of someone who has, you know, 20 years of experience as a UX designer. My main agent is Nike, the goddess of victory. I need some victoriousness. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, listen, that's the definition of vibing. Like, show pictures when you can. It's very helpful. Yeah, that was a fun project, but I like Prompt Browser where it's at. It's nice and simple. Oh, I was alt tab there. I was actually looking into music alternatives. All right, a lot was just done. Nav reordered, build, browse, learn, help, both nav and footer. All right. Ooh. Interesting. Okay. Let's call it a 5-agent team. Dev team. Wait, can we? Oh, we can select more than one. Let's go. ChatGPT, generate config. I want to build a large organization of 5 agents. Ooh. See what happens when we export. Nothing happens. All right, now, homepage looks good for now. I'll come back with some notes there. Now, under build, the export config is still not loading the contents of that chat, right? Like, let's say somebody's chatting back and forth. They're happy with where it's at. The export config should load all of relevant details from the chat so that they can export that config file within, right? Their OC setup. And then I think, right, we have a JSON viewpoint and then a master prompt viewpoint. I think the master prompt should be just a copy paste a prompt with a copy paste a code block feature. Same with the OpenClaw.json, where they can build out that infrastructure that they just built in the chat. Additionally, another feature we need to incorporate from chat to canvas. Let's say somebody's building out their ideal setup, then they could visualize it on the canvas. What would be involved? I know I'm giving you a lot of tasks here, but we got to wire this all up, get it working. And then we'll address the canvas issue separately. As much as I really wanted to get this part live today, chances are we're going to have to finish this on Monday. Let's see. Because there's a little bit more involved with like redoing everything than I thought. But I'm loving the direction we're going in. Who watching this live or watching this recording is interested in using this? Right? For me, the next critical step is validating this. Does this actually work? Right? I know it's pulling all the right data properly. I know it's sourcing all the information from where it needs to source it from. But the question is, the master prompt, does it yield the output you're looking for? That's what I need to test thoroughly. And ideally have beta testers who run the tool and test it in their environments or fresh environments as well. This is also something we should add to. I think I'll add to it with Gemini because Gemini is the visual master here. Nice. There we go. Both JSON tab and master prompt tab pull from raw chat config. Click canvas toggle in the toolbar. Now auto converts the chat config to a graph if one exists. The edit in canvas button. Wow. Okay. Let's test it. So that's the live version. Let's go to the local version. Let's call it a 5-agent team. Content creation and marketing. WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord. GPT. Ooh. Doesn't allow us to multi-select models. Export. Yeah, I'm still seeing when I export that config, the JSON and master prompt tabs are default. They're standard. And then when I select canvas, it does not visualize the build. There's a clear disconnect here. Is this the convex database on the back end? What's going on? Hey, I'm glad you like it. Yeah. Listen, I just want this to be a useful tool. A useful tool. That's the purpose of it. This is a good question. So sometimes, depending on what I'm talking about, it does misstep. But when you update the text inline, it actually remembers that you're correcting that verbiage, right? So you do have to train it a little bit. And there's also an option within the Whisperflow app itself where you can, you know, put, let's say it's mislabeling something, right, for you. Well, you put the mislabel in there and then convert to, right, the proper wording for the common mislabel. So it has been a work in, like at first it was kind of weird with the way I talk to it, but now it's almost flawless. You know, sometimes it still makes mistakes, but what's awesome is the LLMs that I'm prompting, they know what I'm talking about. I don't have to correct the text, but I do try to be mindful of that to correct it as I progress through using it. Excuse me. I love the visualization that it's doing. We can improve on it for sure. Yeah, I think, yeah, Claude and Gemini are my favorite for front end stuff, but it also is dependent on your front end design skill. I have my own front end design skills for Clearmud and Muddy OS as a whole, as well as the prototypes we build. Clawcrib, I built out its own front end design skill as well, because I knew the text I wanted, I knew the styling and the modules I wanted to go with. So I think like once you have a front end design skill spec'd out, no matter what model you use, they'll all get very similar to it. But I do find that Claude and Gemini are the winners there. But again, I haven't tested Codex 5.4 with front end yet. So I'll get back to you on that. Maybe it's changed, right? But I agree with you. I have the same findings as well with GPT versus Claude. Two to three agents, marketing content, WhatsApp, bam, let's call it Grok. Let's see if this works. No, the export pop-up module, literally the data has not changed. It's been the same default placeholder data. There's a clear disconnect here. I want you to be methodical looking into I believe Gemini built this for us originally, okay? The export config information for the OpenClaw.json should be the chat. Same with the master prompt, right? I don't want to have to ask this again. Please figure it out. And then additionally, when I click canvas from the chat, it does not visualize everything discussed in chat. Yeah. Yeah, and that's, you learn that as you kind of play with these tools, which one you prefer to do which task, you know? Yeah, you know, I haven't personally updated my systems yet. I generally wait an update or two unless it's something critical. Let's go check the release, shall we? Where is it? There it is. Oh, there's a dashboard V2 now, huh? Interesting. Okay, GPT 5.4 fast mode. Fast mode, I mean, that burns through more tokens. I personally wouldn't use it. They're fast enough as is. Maybe with Codex, that's a thing, because I know Codex is notoriously slow. This has me interested now. This has me very, very interested now. Thanks for the ping. I was gonna wait a day or two, but now I'm kind of thinking, no, I'll save that for Wednesday. I won't touch Goat today. Goat is strictly for the boot camp. Yeah. That's a good way to approach it, for sure. Let's see where it's at. I'm going to give it one more chance here. Let's see what it does on this this build. That's awesome. That's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah, I think what I'll do is okay. Good to know. Yeah. I'm probably not gonna rush into it then. Ah, okay. Yeah, this is also why I generally don't rush to updates. I let 2 or 3 updates come out, unless of course it's something that I need or something that fixes an issue that I'm having real time, because then those bugs resolve themselves with the next release, right? With hot fixes. I operate off of the you know, the approach of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? All right. 2 to 3 agents, marketing content, Discord, Telegram, WhatsApp, GPT. Yeah, The export config button, all of the results are identical, right? Do I need to take screenshots for you? And in addition, like when you're viewing the JSON in the pop-up module, you should be able to scroll and view the whole thing if a user wants to. Same with the master prompt. These features just simply aren't working, right? There's a clear disconnect somewhere in the system. And then the canvas as well does not work from chat to canvas. It does not visually display what you kind of went through with that chat. So maybe there's another layer we need to add here to export, right? Maybe save to canvas, and then canvas then allows the export config button to work. I don't know. Listen, you're the expert here. You know this code base better than me. Fix it. And let me know what you find. Let me know what the root cause was. And I'm going to paste those two in there. Yeah, I used to live in that dashboard, but ever since I built out my own chat feature in MuddyOS, I don't live out of that dashboard anymore. It's just for admin purposes. With Whisper, can you talk and then have it transcribe before it auto-sends? What do you mean? I usually just use a hotkey, talk to it, and then I release the hotkey, and then make sure my cursor is in the field I want to post it, and then it pre-populates the text. And I could edit it in theory, but I usually just hit send right away. The robots will come for you soon. Love it. Thanks for tuning in, Danny. Welcome. Welcome, Velmorix. Listen, this is based on your skill sets and your creativity. Right? Anybody telling you here's a sure way to make, you know, $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month is most likely just clickbaiting you. I would say look inward first. What are your skills? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Then you use the tech based on your strengths and weaknesses and come up with solutions. Come up with pain points that you solve. Build something that solves pain points, solves problems, and sell it that way. If you're here to build a poly-market trading bot, I'm not the channel for you. I won't clickbait you in this way. I will never do that. We're waiting for the next build here. Come on. Nice. Nice. Yeah, I'm not sure how many words I've done. But you're killing it. You're killing it. I don't know if this is overall. I've also had multiple accounts. I finally just started using one account. But I don't use it for everything, but I just want to also shout out everybody who clicks the link and gives me the credit. I've gotten 22 months of Pro for free now because of everybody using it. It's amazing. I don't know, like, watch this get replaced in 2 years, but like, it's freaking amazing. So I just want to thank everybody for clicking that link and getting us both a free month of Pro. It's freaking awesome. Come on, Claude. I want you to nail this before I end the stream. I want to at least have the export config working. But I'm also getting hungry for some dinner here, so. All right. Apparently it found a fix, so. Probably not tonight. Probably not tonight. I try to limit my pastel de nata intake. But I did go to a local bakery. They make some delicious, natural bread. And they make these cinnamon rolls, which are just to die for. They're just freaking amazing. But I'll probably have some pastels de nata this weekend. No, you're absolutely right. I do. I live here part-time. So I'm half United States, half Portugal, but this past trip I've been here for a year straight. I arrived in April of last year, so coming up on a year. But I usually split 6 months in each country. But soon, I think I'm only going to be spending 3 months in the States and then the other 9 months here. It's going to be the normal split. So you assumed correctly. Nice. What part are you? Are you in Porto or Lisbon? Lisboa. On Kali, using Piper, it also works, but on my Macs or Windows system, it's WhisperFlow. Okay, nice. Yeah, it's I don't eat any bread with traditional yeast anymore. At least, listen, I can't control what I eat at restaurants sometimes, but when it comes to making things or buying things myself, and over here in Portugal, it's actually very difficult to find naturally leavened bread, right? They use commercial yeast everywhere here. But I did find a few shops in my city that are that true sourdough vibe. I do intend on bringing, starting my own sourdough starter, my own mother, so to speak. I just haven't been consistent with where I am, so I haven't wanted to commit to that because I have tried starting a few, but I essentially let them die on accident, right? So I'm not a bread expert in that sense, but I'd like to learn. What are the things that we can do while Claude Code is doing its work? I mean, again, what are your strengths and weaknesses, right? Do some side work. Listen, if you're just starting out with freelancing work, hop on Upwork, right? Build out a YouTube channel with filling a specific use case, and you'll start to just make content around your expertise, and you'll start to see a lot of inbound leads. My schedule is filled up an insane amount. I have client work for web development work that's backlogged me, but now I'm also building custom OC setups, but I don't advertise that. I never tell you to reach out to me to pay me to build you something, right? People reach out to me after seeing me build things in public, right? So listen, no one's gonna give you the answer, right? You gotta know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then just attack them. Porto Alegre. Okay, nice. Wait, Porto Alegre, isn't that the southern coast? So border of Spain? I could be wrong. Nice. Nah, it's not totally off topic. Don't worry about it. What part of the Netherlands, out of curiosity? All right. 5-8 team, marketing content, Discord, WhatsApp, Gemini. And let's see what happens now. I did. I haven't played with it at all. Memory has not been an issue for me the way I have things configured. So once I have more experience working with that, I can speak to it. Okay, nice. Very nice. Yeah, I have some cousins along that southern coast. Exports. It is missing the beat altogether here. Let's see what gets called. Yeah, this looks like static data. It's just been consistently. Yeah, that literally did nothing. We're still seeing the same dummy placeholder fields in export config. And then when I go to canvas as well, it still shows the default canvas and doesn't show the canvas according to the chat, right? Like if you can't figure this out, wouldn't a workaround be in the chat, you know, ask the user if they want to export this config, right? Rather than like, you really need to look into the, we have our nav header, but then we have that secondary nav header that's sticky, right? That shows back, chat, canvas, crib name, export config, sign in to save, and share. I think the problem lies within that sticky secondary nav header. I hope this gives you enough context to fix it. Nice, nice. Yeah, PT's pulling a lot of people, man. I first made the commitment to move out here in 2021. But I would only come out here for a few months out of the year. It was primarily in the winters to take care of all my documentation, because I'm not a natural born citizen, but I'm 100% Portuguese through my parents. And so it was very easy for me to get the cartão cidadão. But over the years, I've started to spend a little bit more time and a little bit more time and a little bit more time. And now it's where I spend a majority of my time, for sure. Nice, nice. Yeah, you know, I've been hearing a lot of people killing it with mobile apps, right? Vibe coding a solution. You know, a lot of people are taking ideas that are popular in one country, rebuilding it for their country, their native country, depending on where you are. There's a lot of success in building mobile apps like that as well. I mean, that's cool that you're building something, right? I get the whole question. I wish I could answer it. I don't want to bullshit you. Excuse my language. I don't want to mislead you. Like, what you make on the side is dependent on your strengths and weaknesses and your skill sets, right? This channel, I don't make $1 from yet, right? Yes, I've had some leads come in. I've had some work, you know, birth from all of these leads and just this attention, but it's not my focus here to make money. It's my focus here to make good videos, make each video better than the last, make sure we're bringing value, making sure that we're making AI simple and easy to use, and then building in public and never charging you a damn course. Because I believe that all this information should be free. It shouldn't be paywalled, right? But I do work on the side as a web developer. I have you know, decades of experience in IT, in the IT industry, hardware, software, and networking. I retired as a network engineer. I don't do that type of work anymore, but my skill sets and my work experience from my career, right, allows me to keep doing work on the side, right? And I see that the camera just died, so let me swap out that battery. Should be back. When did I start my channel? So I started posting consistently, I want to say in June of last year. But it was just one video a week, I think, for the first month or two. And then I bumped it up to 2 videos a week. I think I haven't changed since then. And then I started live streaming, I think in December, if I'm not mistaken. But the original idea for the channel actually started back in December of 2023. If you go look at the YouTube channel bio of this channel, you'll see when this account was created. I reserved the name Clearmud back then because I knew I wanted it to be Clearmud. I loved the name, it resonated with me. But it took me about 1.5 years of kind of, you know, being in the industry, consuming content, figuring out like the approach that I wanted to take, before I actually started making videos. And when I first started making videos, they were trash. Like, I was making them for other people. I wasn't making them for me. You know, the true unlock happened when I started making things that I wanted to see, that I thought a handful of people will find value in. And that's, you know, we've just been growing ever since. So yeah, I mean, this channel's a baby. I have big plans for this brand as a whole. I did register it as an LLC. We will be electing as an S Corp pretty soon, with all this side work that's coming in. But I have big plans for Clearmud as a brand, as a whole, right? It's not just this short term. Hey, thanks, Velmore. Gotta lock in. I appreciate you for stopping by. I hope to see you back here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for commenting. But yeah, and Danny, going back to it, I probably could have grown a lot quicker if I were willing to create content that clickbaits people. Listen, I respect the hustle of people doing that. I get it. I get the approach. I don't want to mislead people this way, right? And I know that's factored into my slower growth than other channels in the industry. But listen, you know, I believe a certain thing to be, right? And I'm not gonna to clickbait, create content that misleads you, that challenges your emotions, right? That's just not what I'm about here. So slow and steady is the goal. Hey, thank you, Danny. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the questions. Hope to see you back here, you know? All right, let's test this, shall we? Solo, support, Discord, Gemini. Yeah, it's missing the beat altogether here. Yeah, on the front end, there's literally nothing has changed. The export config button does not work at the end of chat. The canvas does not display what the chat shows. I'm wondering if we should force a reload, maybe move the port. Not sure what else can be causing this. You're the expert here, Claude. Three, huh? Same exact issue. Same exact issue. Yeah, I'm thinking, you know, I might just end it here and then start off a fresh session here. We just tried switching the port, clearing the next cache, and that did not fix the issue. So there's clearly something else happening here. And I'm a little too hungry to want to figure it out. Yeah, so I think I'm going to call it there. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Tosco. Thank you, Danny, for stopping by. Thank you, Velmo. Thank you, Jelly. Thank you, Sharma. Thank you, Derek. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Gob Izzy. Thank you, Levi. Supreme. Appreciate you for stopping by. And Adieta. Hope I pronounced that correctly. I think this is a great place to end it. Yeah. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll be back at it Monday with some more vibe coding. We're going to pick up where we left off here with Clawcrib, and then we might update prompt browser as well. And then next Wednesday is going to be a big boot camp day for OpenClaw, where we focus on a multi-agent team setup and we wire everything together. It's probably going to be a long episode, so get ready for it. And yeah, appreciate you for being here. Appreciate you for stopping by, whether it was live or the recording. Happy building, and I'll catch you on the next one.